Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Here we have 2009 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and there's a problem with the air conditioning. The vents are not blowing inside, and what it is the first thing I believe that happens is you need to check, because this is a common issue with these cars, is you need to take these actuators the on the door, on the vent doors or flappers. And this vehicle has the dual AC control, so you need to get into the left and right side to diagnose. And this one is the left side. It sits right here, and it has two up on the bottom. It has two T20 Torx bolts. And Dorman sells a kit in case just this thing is broken here, which is the so what you need to do is you need to visually inspect the actual part of the shaft here. And this one, actually, if it's sticking out here and it's fine, then you may be able to use the Dorman kit. But like, I tried to diagnose this thing and I kind of wiggled it and pushed it and it went in. So this is a bad thing. It means that the shaft is broken inside the vent on this left chamber or the left flap. So you can just leave this actually here, so you can just diagnose while you diagnose this. And then, so we know now that the left side is broken, and then you need to go to the right side in case you have the dual climate control, and check the right side vent. Okay, in order to get to this, you need to get the glove box out, and this actual flapper, the actuator, is right here. There's this white thing. And what happened is when I took out the actuator, this piece came out. So this is part of the actuator actually, and it is broken. It is broken off this piece right here. So if you try to wiggle it and push it, if it's okay, then you can probably use the Dorman kit on this side. But because our left side is completely broken, we cannot use the Dorman kit, and we're gonna need to get into the dashboard to fix this. Otherwise, if you just have this, like something like this, just broken right here, you need to cut this part and use the Dorman kit. I'll include a link to the Dorman kit. You can buy it off Amazon or whatever else, and you can just fix this part here by replacing this part. But in our case, it's not going to work. We're gonna need to start getting into the dash to get to this part of the air conditioning inside the dashboard. Again, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Thanks very much. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. And we did a diagnostic procedure on this car, on the air conditioning, and it seems the actuators, this thing has a dual climate control. The actuators on the main vent, the left side shaft is broken. The right side, the shaft tip is broken. And since we cannot fix the left side because it's broken internally, we're gonna need to get into the dashboard to replace that whole ventilation system that's behind here. And the way you start doing this is, We already had the glove box out because we're diagnosing this in the other video. We're gonna need to get down here afterwards, but first you need to start from the central dash here, and the way you take this out is you need to pull this chrome piece first, and you can use this pry tool, and then you need to pull this out. It has these clips here, nothing crazy. Actually, both of the pieces came out together, and then we're gonna need to release this central dash here out of the place, or try to remove it backwards. I already pried out this piece here, this central piece, using this tool and kind of prying out through here, and the piece came out. I don't see any bolts or anything. It comes with the two vents on the sides, so this is how it comes out. You're gonna need to put the key on so you can move this shifter all the way at the back to drive. I moved the stick back to drive, and now we have the space to open these connectors. It's nothing crazy. They just have the clips that you need to push, and they'll come out. So I thought that this dash could be in two pieces, left and right, but it's not. This piece here is connected here in the middle, as you can see, and we need to get into these bolts. I'm going to remove the radio first with these 7mm, and after the radio I'm gonna start removing the bolts that hold these pieces here. It looks like this piece, yeah, it goes all the way down to the left. Yeah, that's a big mess. I'm also looking at this, and it looks like this top part needs to be lifted up because it's sitting on the top of this, because this piece is right here, and then it's this, and then it's this. So we're gonna have to get into this piece, I guess, after I remove the radio. So once you remove these bolts, you need to use this pry tool to open or separate the radio from the frame, and then you need to start pulling on it and make sure you don't drop it so you destroy the screen. And then you need to disconnect all these. I don't think you cannot make a mistake with these because they're color coded. So whatever color the plug is, that's what goes into the radio. So for now you just need to disconnect it. Okay, the next step after you remove the radio, you need to remove these side panels. Again, the same way, use this pry tool and pull it out, and we can see there are two bolts here. And before we continue, I can see this piece here, and I just grabbed it, and the whole thing came out. Actually, it looks like it slides. Yeah, it looks like it slides backwards. It's held by these clips. So this thing slides backwards. So the next part of this would be taking the cluster out, and the way you take it out is here, and here you have these two bolts. Okay, after you take the bolts, you pull this backwards, and you need to take the plugs out. It looks like the connectors are on the top actually, and you can just pull it or pull them, and then you set the dashboard aside. Now it seems like all the bolts that this car uses are kind of the same 7mm bolts, so you just need to start taking apart whatever you see. And in this case would be this one here, and then you can take these two out also, the one here and here. So trying to move this, I realized that something is holding this piece to this bottom piece, and what I did is I pulled this piece out here, which I need to disconnect the plug so I can remove it out of the way. And it seems like we have a little surprise here, because I was trying to see what's going on inside, and you can see that we have a couple of actually bolts. So we have one bolt here and one here holding this dashboard in the back, in this area here. So you see, when you move it, it won't move. So you're gonna need to get to those pieces and those bolts and get them out. Okay, the easiest way to get these bolts is by using a small extension with a 7mm and kind of holding your fingers as a guide. And one I took out, it was right here, then the next one is right here. So you can do it here like I'm doing right now, but the easiest thing is you're not gonna have a camera in your hand, so you can just use your fingers as a guide to get to it and get it out. And I just took it out, and this is the 7mm. So this part is out. You can actually, it'll separate from this lower part. So I'm gonna continue with the next part. So the next part, it looks like this part here is loose. I kind of lifted up this grill to check. I see some bolts, but I think they're holding the speaker. And then I see a bolt here that's holding the dash. This piece just comes out when you just kind of pry it out and lift it off the place where it sits. So I saw this bolt here from the outside. Actually, this is not a bolt. Okay, this is just a vent. So this bolt here, it looks like a 10mm. It's what it needs to be taken out later. But the next thing I'm gonna take is I'm gonna take these two bolts here, and then I'm gonna go on the other side, this passenger side, to take whatever's on that side. Okay, the next would be taking on the side, on the passenger, these two bolts. Is we had them on the other side, and try to see if this will separate from this. Okay, I lifted this part, this piece here, so I have it out of the way, because when I need to get to this bolt here, there's nothing else, just this bolt here, and trying to separate this from this. It seems like we have another surprise, and what it is these three bolts here. This one is one, then you have the one on the left here, so it's this one here, the one on the left, and there's one here on the right side. That one would be a little bit hard to get. This one we can get to, this one we can get to. So you're gonna have to use some skills to get to this one. And that's a 7mm. And also I need to see, I think I'm gonna need to get these bolts here out anyway in order to get to this piece here. But the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these 3 bolts and that one there out in order to separate the top part. So after you release the 3 bolts holding the plastics, in order to lift this top part, there's an airbag mounted there. So the way it's mounted is here. It has these 2 that's an 8mm bolt. So far we'll be using 7, now this is an 8. So you release these 2 bolts here on the left and right side, and then you can feel, if you lift it on the outside, that it's actually moving. And the next step is I'm gonna proceed to take these nuts holding the dash, and those are 10mm. And remember, this is the right side. You will also have it there on the left side. And it seems like this actual black frame is moving with the whole top part if you shake it. So I'm gonna separate or take these 4 bolts in the central dash out. Again, these are 7mm. Okay, trying to move this dash. It seems like it's getting stuck on the Evaporator trims, so trim panels. So we're gonna need to take these out too. I thought I was gonna get away from them, but apparently not. So you need to take these caps and then 10mm inside. Yep, I took the 10mm bolts, they're long bolts, and I just grabbed this and pulled it out. And yep, what it is the pillars are sitting actually on top of the dashboard. So I need to take the left side too. And now this actually is coming out of place completely. As you can see, it's already moving, ready to come out. Make sure, don't forget that you have the speakers here. I may actually remove the speakers before pulling this out, so I can unplug them. It'll be easier in this way instead of trying to go underneath. Okay, you just pull these caps out. Again, it's a 10mm bolt. And it's a long one too, and same way here. And all you do is you need to grab this and it'll come out. Nothing to it. And now the next thing is, because I already started pulling this out, I'm gonna pull this with the tool, and we can see, actually, yep, it'll come out just by hand. It just has these clips holding it, and it has these 2 7mm bolts. And long 7mm socket. You need to be careful with the windshield, and the speaker should lift up Okay, because everything is old and kind of glued. Okay, we lift it up. You can lift it up, and then you need to disconnect it. And looks like it has this clip here right in the middle, and this is it. And the same thing for the right side. Once you take the speaker out, because I'm going to take the right one too, in order not to confuse them, just use a marker and mark him on the bottom. This is the left side, and the same thing for the right side over there. Again, in order to take this out, you need to use a plastic pry tool and get it between the speaker grill and the dash. And once you take most of it out, you can actually pull it by hand, because it's just held in the back by the clips, the same clips that are in the front. And here we go, same thing, two 7mm bolts on the speaker. Okay, before you lift this dashboard, make sure that you disconnect this connector here for the airbag on the passenger side. You don't want to destroy the wires or the plug. It's extremely important that you disconnect this before you pull the dashboard out. Dashboard is ready to come out, so I'm gonna have to get someone to help me. And remember that I think it's the alarm or whatever sensor in the middle. Don't forget that once you pull it back enough to reach, you need to check where the wire is or the plug. Also, here on the left side, before you pull, you need to press this part in to separate the top part. Remember the hidden bolt here? Well, this thing is actually will be stuck to the top part, so you kind of need to push the bottom and the outer out. So this dashboard is ready to move or come out. Don't forget these wires that for the cluster when you put them back. And I'm gonna try to pull enough and maybe pull up in order to see what's going on with that sensor back there, or light or whatever it is. Okay, upon trying to pull this out, I can see okay, this is the wire for the speaker, just exactly what I guessed. So this wire here would have to be disconnected all the way down the line in order to release the dashboard. And I assume this is going to be the same case on the right side. And I kind of felt this sensor. I'm going to try to see if I can push it up so I can disconnect it, because there's a plug underneath that middle sensor. But right now I'm going to disconnect this wire here from the places where it's held and just drop it down. Okay, actually I took the wires underneath, but this thing I couldn't reach. I kind of felt it, but I couldn't feel the lock in the plug, so I used a small flat screwdriver. I kind of pried it on the outside, and as you can see, it just drops in kind of with these little clips. So just pry it up, and here's the locking thing and the locking part of the clip, and you can disconnect it. So this will save you a tremendous amount of trouble. And then I'm gonna check the wire on the left side speaker, if it's connected, because this is ready to come out. I mean, it's ready to come out. And as I guessed, yep, this left speaker wire is connected here, right here to the dash, so you need to pull it out. There we go. And now the dashboard is ready to come out. You need to get another person to help you out to pull it out of the car through the passenger door in my case. Okay, this is the top part of the dash coming out. Okay, the top part is out, and now we proceed to this bottom part here, and it looks like this is pretty loose, but it may have some holding underneath. So I'm gonna take these two bolts here at 7mm. One is here and one is here. I already took this right side, and then I'm gonna take this left side right here. That's just holding the this cover here, just in case. And it looks like it's actually loose, so this should be okay. So the next step would be, I see two bolts here in the middle, one here and one here. So I'm gonna take those two in the middle next. Okay, I took those bolts in the middle, and while trying to pull that middle console on the sides, I realized that this whole middle console actually needs to either come out or needs to be loosened and pulled back. So that's what I'm gonna do next. And what I can see is this, I pulled this here with the pry tool from the bottom here, and it popped out, and it comes out from the bottom up. And I'm going to disconnect to the plugs, and from what I can see, the plastic is held by this bolt here and another bolt on the other side right there, and it looks like it's a Torx T20. So on the passenger side I had one T20 Torx, but on this side actually, I see three. Yeah, there's one all the way down here, and it's the one down there. I just took this one in the middle, and then we have one more here. So 3 T20 Torx on the driver's side. Okay, the next step in order to pull this up is you have to get these 3 bolts that hold the actual cover in the armrest in the middle console, and these are T25 or Torx 25. So the next step here is actually a hidden bolt in the middle, the cup holder's place. That's weird. I thought this was a factory cap, but it turns out to be a cap of a water bottle that I just pulled up. It's interesting. Okay, and then we can see the 10mm in a very rusted condition. And indeed it is very rusted. So this is what is holding this dash or this middle console from coming back. I need to check what's going on here in the front, but I believe there's nothing holding here. I just need to pull up and back in order to get it out of the way. And yeah, see, it's loose. It's already loose in the back. There's nothing holding it here. Okay. And before I can pull this dash or this middle console, it seems like something is connected to this vent, and I found out that there's underneath, there is a hidden bolt, and that's the bolt right there. So you're gonna have to feel with your hand where the bolt is and the tool to take this bolt out, and it's a T20. Well, another surprise, this bolt actually, the Torx bolt that connects the vent to the upper part, and so you can remove so you can remove actually this middle console. What was holding it is actually Torx T15, not 20. And as you can see, some stuff is already coming out. So once you get this up, you need to get it up and out of the car so you can actually go and continue with the front lower part of the dash. Well, surprise, surprise. Trying to pull this, we can see another connection right there, and right there, what that is another Torx T15. Not sure how this car was built from upside down. This is just amazing. I need to see what's going on here because this is very strange. Maybe this part drops first. No, because you have the bolts here that hold this. Yeah, this is crazy. Okay, no, I'm not sure how this was built. This is extremely crazy. But yeah, we have another T15 down there that's holding this vent to the middle console that you need to get in and remove before you can pull the middle console out. And as we can see, this right part and the middle of the dash is completely loose. So the only thing left is this side here, and okay, this one is loose. Remember, this just opens by pulling down, and we see one 7mm here, and actually I see another one here. Okay, I need to pull this completely out of this. I need to pull it. Okay, here we go. It just pulls by pulling back. There we go. So we got this one, and this one. So we got 3 of these. And okay, don't forget the OBD connector. I'm just gonna push it backwards by pressing these clips on the side. Okay, so it's out of the way. That's cool. So just the 3 7mm, and I'm gonna pull this back and up to go around the steering wheel because I don't want to touch the steering wheel. Okay, here we go. I took those 2 bolts. This dash is completely loose. Okay, you pull it back. Okay, the only thing is, don't forget, you still have the key here. I need to see how this is connected to the dash, or possibly there should be an electrical connector that we can disconnect. Okay, that's what it is. We have the electrical connectors here, and we just need to pull it. It looks like the clip's on the top. Okay, the pink one is on the bottom, but the black one has the connector or the push lock, the pin on the top. Okay, but I got it disconnected, so that's the electronic key model or starter model, whatever. And and the next thing is we need to disconnect this one here because I can see it's not letting me pull this dash out. So in order to disconnect this plug, you need to pull it out and pull this tab, and it'll come out of this plug. And now the dash is already completely loose. It's ready to come out. You're gonna need another person in order to lift it up and try to get it over the steering wheel. Okay, actually the last thing before you can pull this dash is this little connector that connects down here. This is like a bulb here. Yeah, the dash bulb on your feet on the driver's side, so you need to disconnect that. And using this hole here, you can actually maneuver around the steering wheel with another person and take it out. You're gonna need to spread this top part higher or wider to get it out. And a piece of advice: wrap the steering wheel, the leather, with something so you don't scratch it and destroy it, unless it's really old and you don't really care. But again, wrap it with something like a piece of clothing or maybe some tape and masking tape so you don't destroy the leather on the wheel. But as you can see, this bottom part is out of its place, and the next step would be to get into that middle console there to get to the heater core and all these AC vents in order to replace the flappers that are broken. Okay, the next step is trying to get as much stuff out of the way of this frame, because in order to get to the central box here with the heater core and the evaporator, we need to take this frame out of the way. And as you can see, you have this 10mm bolt here in the middle, and then we have these 10mm here. So it's not a lot of stuff connected to it. And at this point, I believe I'm gonna start. And I'm gonna need to disconnect the battery, because I see a fuse box here connected to this metal box, and I'm gonna have to disconnect these wires here, and I'd rather have I'd rather be safe and have the battery disconnected. The next thing that I'm doing now is I'm gonna take, there's two bolts here holding this trim. They're 7mm. And also I need to take this bottom piece out of the steering wheel, because we have to disconnect these bolts here on the left and right side so that the steering wheel drops down. But I need to actually see what's going on here, because from what I see, I think I'm gonna need to disconnect the steering wheel, possibly because this frame is not gonna come out with the steering wheel in. Okay, I just disconnected the battery, and I'm gonna take these covers off the steering wheel here, and what it is, there are 3 Torx T20 bolts here that I need to take, and then I'm gonna start separating these wires out on the upper frame. With this trim, once you take the Torx, the T20 Torx right here, you just need to separate these here. You separate the two pieces, they'll come out. The bottom piece will fall out first, and then you take the upper piece, and in our case we're gonna need to remove, most likely we're gonna need to remove the steering wheel and forgot the name of this thing. The Hvac spring is what the name was, and this mechanism for the wipers and the blinkers, because this metal frame is gonna have to slide out this direction, and with this in the way, it's not gonna happen. So that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna try to take the wheel out and this mechanism. Okay, to get this steering wheel out of this Jeep, we're gonna need to reach these 3 different holes. You have these, one on the bottom, one on this left side, and there's one on the right side. And what you need to do is, if you can see the metal pin, that metal pin needs to be pushed out with a flat screwdriver. It needs to be pushed outwards. And see, it's sitting inside this, I think it's a rubber, kind of a metal type of a deal, or lock, and you just need to put a screwdriver right between this metal pin right here. And as you can see, I'm just pushing it to open, and there we go. It tries to go back, but once you push it out, you see, it's out, and the steering wheel actually opened on this side. So you have to do the same thing for this pin here, the same way. As you can see, there's a metal pin right there, the same thing. You have to use a flat screwdriver and get it between the metal pin and the lock, and I just pushed it out. See, the bottom is out too, and you need to turn the steering wheel to the other side because you need the last pin right here, and same way you need to push a flat screwdriver right underneath, and it's almost out. It's not out yet. And once you pop it out, you see it actually pops out automatically. And again, always disconnect the battery before you disconnect these 2 connectors for the airbag. Out of safety reasons, you don't want these blowing up in your face. And these you just push on the sides here, the two side pins right here, one on the left and right sides, and the same thing with the black one. You need to push the little pins, and the airbag is out, and you need to make sure you put it back where it was in the middle, just in case you don't want to make a mistake and let the Hvac spring move. The Hvac spring has only a couple turns left and right, and you don't want this to start spinning freely because it will break the Hvac spring inside. The electrical tracks will break. So you need to put this back where it was in the center. And if you want to take the steering wheel out, then obviously you need to start you need to disconnect this actually right here off the clock spring, and you need to use whatever this thing is. It looks like maybe like a 15 bolt to take the steering wheel out. Okay, you want to take the steering wheel out. You need to disconnect this piece right here. That's the connection to the clock spring. These are the airbag wires. You just need to make sure they go through the hole when you take it out. And now you can release the steering wheel. The way you release it is with this bolt in the middle. It's 13 millimeter, and I'm gonna use an impact gun because it's faster. Once you take it out, I'm gonna advise you to make sure you mark this wheel where it is, because sometimes these wheels have a little notch that you can slide it back in. You cannot make a mistake. Possibly, you see the one on the top here. This is the notch in this case. It's the little flat space where the teeth stop and there's a flat spot, and then you have the little dot on the steering wheel. But this is your guide of how this is supposed to go back, and I'm gonna anyway mark it again just in case. And again, this is what I'm gonna mark. You should not be able to make a mistake, because this steering wheel will only go if the flat spot matches the flat spot on the center, in the center shaft. But anyway, just as a guidance, just put it there, mark it, and you can use a black marker, whatever. And once this is ready, then you can pull the steering wheel, if it'll come out. Okay, I need to use my two hands because this looks like it's stuck. Or no, actually, yeah, it's coming out. Once it comes out, get the wires through, leave the steering wheel on the side out of the way, and you need to make sure this is the most sensitive part here. This clock spring must stay where it is, because these spin very easily. You wouldn't even realize. You're gonna get out of the car, you're gonna touch the wires, and it's gonna spin. So you need to make sure it doesn't spin, and it needs to stay in the same place. So I need to find a way to lock this. It looks like I can put something right here and just lock it in this place, or maybe I can just put a piece of tape across and just lock it in one place. If you're going to replace the clock spring or this mechanism, this is what you need to do. Actually, if you're replacing it, you don't need to lock it. You need to lock it just in case you're replacing maybe something small. Sometimes just one of these can be replaced, and then you can put it back, unless you can just replace this by itself while it's sitting here. It looks like maybe that's the case because it has a bolt here on the side, so maybe you wouldn't need to take it out. But yeah, in my case, I need to lock this because I need to take this whole mechanism out, and I'm gonna reuse it. So in order to lock this clock spring, I'm using this space, and I'm gonna use this kind of a bolt lock, whatever it is, the ball joint nut locks forgot the name of this, but you get the point. You can use something here just to kind of lock this cork spring from moving left and right, and this is perfect. Should be okay. And the next thing is I need to take this this whole thing out, and from what I see, it looks like I need to get this bolt out here, and I need to get these two on the top, these right here, this one and this one, that looks like T20 Torx. So once you remove the T20 Torx, and you need to kind of push this right side higher so it goes over this ridge, the whole mechanism will come out, and you need to disconnect the plugs. So this plug is on the top, it has the lock here, and then okay, we have 3 more plugs here, and you get the point. You just disconnect them one by one. You shouldn't make a mistake putting this back, because all of them are different. They will go only in one way, and this is it. This thing is out, and it's already locked, so it shouldn't be a problem. And you take this out. So this is how you take it out. If you want to put it back, you just put it back in reverse. And this is this ridge right here that I was telling you about, the steering wheel, this flat spot. So you shouldn't be able to make a mistake. It'll only go one way. So this is it. And I'm gonna need to keep going with my next video. Thanks. Okay, next step is you need to get a pry tool, or maybe a flat screwdriver will do the work probably, and you start taking this wiring harness off the metal frame. Just find where the clips are, like in this case here and here, and in this case on the passenger side here, and there's one here. I don't think you're gonna make a mistake when you put it back in, because this only goes one way. Okay, next is this fuse box here. Looks like it just has these 2 plugs, and all you do is just press this clip and you pull the handle to unclip the connection, and the same thing for the bottom connection. You press it, then you pull the handle to open the plug, and this should be it, because this fuse box looks like it's mounted to this metal frame, so it'll come out with it. I believe it may be better to take this bottom part, this bottom trim piece right here, because you can push these plugs down when you're taking the frame out, so they're not in the way. So yeah, you can just leave them here, right here, and they're out of the way, so this should be okay right here. The next thing is I need to take these bolts that hold the steering wheel shaft. So there's one bolt here, it looks like there's another one down here, and it looks like it's already loose. I think the factory never tied this bolt completely, they just left it open. Defect from the factory. As you can see, it's just open right there. Yeah. So They look like they're 13 millimeters, and I have the impact gun here already with 13. Yep, those are 13 millimeters. Got one out, and got the second one out. And as you can see, it feels like there's something holding still. I need to see what it is. Maybe it's this thing here. There's like a 10 millimeter here. Let me see if this will remove it. Okay, so this 10 millimeter here is actually what holds the metal frame to the firewall, so that's not part of the steering wheel. But I remember I took this one, I put it back so that it holds the steering wheel right now in place. Then I took the one here, and then the one in the back right there that was loose, and I realized there's one more here. It's this one here on the side. It's in a strange place. Once I released that, the wheel fell down. So actually what I'm going to do is it may be easier to disconnect this completely from the shaft. It's this 13 millimeter here. The only problem is I may have a hard time putting it back in the same place. But if you want to take it out, this 13 millimeter here, yeah, I can either take it off or I can leave it in the car. It may create trouble for me when I'm installing it back, so that I need to align it to where it was. So maybe I'm just going to leave it in the car. But if you need to take this steering column out, it's just this 13 millimeter from this joint here. It's like a U-joint back there, and this will come out. This whole mechanism will come out, and you just you take this 13 millimeter out, and what's holding right now is just this one here. Actually, it's not even holding. I'll just put it back in, and you see the whole thing drops down. I need to disconnect this wiring harness here because I'm going to leave this in the car. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it in the car. Okay, this is it. Okay, also push these two clips here that hold the OBD2 connector to the frame. And now it looks like we're ready to start disassembling the bolts that hold this metal frame to the firewall or the structure of the car. And I can see you have a 10 millimeter here, and we have a 10 millimeter here, and we have some 10 millimeters on the side and the passenger side. So take all of these out. Actually, sorry, this one here in the middle is 8 millimeter. Yeah, it looked different. I just didn't pay attention. So this is an 8 millimeter, where the rest of those bolts are 10 millimeters. I took these out. I took the one here and this one, and I'm gonna go and take the other 10 millimeters on the other side. It looks like there's a 8 millimeter over there too, right there, holding the blower to this frame. This is crazy. I just see one bolt here on the right side, but the other one is missing. So I assume somebody has been in this car before. Yeah, because I can see the old traces of the old bolts. Yeah, it looks like somebody has been here before. Okay, then we have this one here. And remember, is this 8mm here. Okay, I didn't realize because on the other side this bracket kind of fell out and it's kind of loose, but there's another 10mm underneath here, and it may be just easier to take it out so you can remove this bracket and you can mark the brackets. I guess it won't really matter, they look the same on left and right side, but you can mark them and it'll be easy to take this bracket out. So you remove this whole frame. Okay, next thing is we have some ground connections here. We need to take these out or disconnect the bolts with the ground connections. It's two 8mm. And I need to start shaking this to see what's going on. Okay, I see a little tiny 7mm here too. I need to take this one out before I start pulling it. And I believe this should be the last thing holding this frame is this 7mm here. I cannot see what they're holding, but it feels like on the left side everything is loose. So I'm gonna disconnect this 7mm also, and also make sure if you see the little clips here like this one, you need to push it back, and this one here, I saw a couple of these on the other side, on the driver's side. So this thing is loose. There we go, it's ready to go. We just need to disconnect this wiring harness here and here, and you need to get maybe a couple people to get this frame out of the car, but the frame is ready to go out. So last thing before you try to pull this out is I realized that there's the antenna cable that runs behind this frame here, but it comes over the frame here on the next to the firewall. So you need to disconnect this from here. They made a connection, that's a smart thing. So you just need to lift this clip here and you need to pull it and disconnect it and just leave it in. And this side you can leave here, and yeah, this is ready to come out. Now I'm gonna call someone to help me to get it out. Okay, couple things. I needed to disassemble this, and it was a 13mm holding. I marked it, but anyway, this cannot go in a different direction because it's a square, and you can see one side where the bolt goes through. It has a cut in the shaft, so you cannot make a mistake. So that's easy to take out. I was just afraid to do it, but I had to do it. Remember, these are the front plugs, but what happened is in the back, once we pulled the frame, there was another plug here for the back of the fuse box. And also we had to remove this little light on the right side. And here we go, we're into the box of the air conditioning. Now I need to get to these shafts here, and the one shaft is here, and then it's got the other one on the other side. Okay, so it looks like this box is in two pieces that I can separate and get this out in order to fix the shaft. We need to see if we can replace parts or fix them, whatever. The first shaft that is broken is right here, and it looks like this whole box is in two pieces. The disconnection part is right here, is this line here, and it has a bolt here. On the other side it has two bolts, and the only thing here is I can see actually this bolt holding it, and that's in the back, so that may be a little trouble, but we're used to these backward bolts already. Don't touch the actuators, just disconnect the wiring harness from them. And in order to, let me go on the other side. In order to, you see, this is where the box disconnects, here and here and here, and this whole piece, the front part of this box, will come out, and what sits in there is the evaporator core for the AC. So you're gonna need to evacuate or let the freon out. This needs to be done in a professional way so you don't release it in the air. And you need to get this bolt here out to disconnect the evaporator core from the pipes, because you're gonna pull this box out with the evaporator core installed. And just disconnect all of these connectors for the actuators when you see them. And this wire, this can stay here, because we just need to take this front part of the box. So I'm gonna start taking these. That's a Torx T20. I had a T20 holding the side vent, but the left side had a space for bolt but doesn't have the bolt. I don't know what's going on. It seems like everything is like a factory defect of uninstalled parts on this vehicle. So this is the disconnection, what I'm talking about. You see it's already moving. So I need to disconnect the evaporator core from this bolt here, and it looks like it's a T20. Remember, we are going to replace this, I believe, because we're here already. Most likely we may get into the heater core also, that's behind here. I need to see what's going on there. And there's seals here that need to be replaced, because normally or usually with different cars these seals will start leaking after a while, and they must be replaced. So this bolt actually sits here. It just releases this clamp here, or this lock system, and the bolt, oh okay, it came out. I'm just gonna get it out, and the next thing is I need to go on the left side, take the other T20 Torx. So what we have here is this one. And remember, we have the one up there in the back. You can start disconnecting these electrical parts if you want. Yeah, you can disconnect them. Actually, this one will just come out of here. You may want to mark this, or maybe just come back and watch the video, but this sits here in these two holes. And then I need to get to the T-Torx up there in the back. Okay, so in order to take this T20 backwards, you actually can see it right from here, and you just use your, in this case my Milwaukee electrical wrench, and you get it with the T20 and you remove it, and it's actually ready to go. No, a little bit more. And here we go, and it goes out. So if you move this, it should be able to move. It should be able to separate from here. It's opening here, but I need to keep checking and see what else is holding this. Okay, it turns out that we're clear here. It seems like everything is disconnected here, but we have a bolt backwards here from the back side. That's another T20 on the top behind this top part. So in this case, again, you're gonna have to fill it with your hands. It's a tight space, or you can just put the in my case, the electrical wrench. It should fit straight in here, and you need to take that one out. I need to see if there's one on the left side. And yes, I barely had space, but I managed to take it out. It's right there, and this is the bolt. Now this part is loose here. I need to see if there's anything on the other side now. Okay, so as I was guessing, and unfortunately we have another T20 that's right there, and just the same way on the other side, but on the other side I had more space to put my electrical ratchet in. This one is going to be a tight fit. I may have to go from the right side, actually go all the way in here. So I need to see what I'm going to do, but I need to get to this one here because that's the last one holding this box down, actually, to the first part of the box. Okay, looks like the box is not really made to be separated here, but you can push this back with this and you're gonna get some more space to reach that bolt back there. Okay, I managed to get it out with a small extension, the T20, and I pushed the box back so I had some space. So this thing is ready to come out. It's just holding these two, the vents down here holding the box, but box is ready to come out. So I'll get it out and I'll put it on the table so we can go from there. Okay, actually what I pulled out is the heater core. It's not the evaporator. I'm sorry, I didn't realize the piping, but here's the problem. You can see it. These are the two flaps they're supposed to open it. They don't. Well, this one opens, but the clip is broken here where the actuator sits. This one can be fixed on the outside with a Dorman kit that they sell, but this one is the one that I pushed in from the outside here, and as you can see, it's not moving. It's barely moving because it's broken right down there. That piece is supposed to be out, so we need to see if we can get these or not. And I'm gonna need to open this box from these bolts here, holding the box, because I need to try to see what's going on with this flap and whether, and actually in order to replace it I need to separate the box anyway. So that would be my next step. I just need to find a way to separate this, taking these bolts out so we can see we can order this part or what we need to do to fix this. But this is the whole box, and that's the evaporator core here, and we're gonna end up probably replacing this because it's very old. It needs to be replaced technically. And this is the box, and these are the connectors for the evaporator. or the heater core, I'm sorry. Again, this is the evaporator for the AC right here. And please make sure you tap these, because the coolants are leaking inside the car, even though we took the coolant out already in the front. But still, try to tap these before they start leaking a lot. Okay, so I took some of these Torx right there, and I need to take this one out, and this one. Don't worry about this coming apart because it still has these clips here. So these clips are gonna hold the box for now. Okay, the way you take these out is you pry them out with a screwdriver here, and you just pull them out. Same here. And we have one more left. It's this one here. And this thing is ready to come apart. Okay, the way you take these out is you pry them out with a screwdriver here, and you just pull them out. Same here. And we have one more left. It's this one here. And this thing is ready to come apart. Okay, before I separate the two pieces, actually I hear the metal fins on the heater core, so I'm gonna take it out first because it needs to come out anyway, and then I should be able to remove these two boxes. Okay, I'm separating this just by using a flat screwdriver, just pushing the plastics out so they're coming out. But the only thing is that's holding this, was this foam piece, because this was one piece in the middle, and I realized that I need to cut it straight in the middle with a sharp razor blade to separate these pieces. That's what you need to do in order to take it out. And now everything is coming apart, so you need to make sure that everything is still in the same place so you don't end up losing parts or whatever, or the structure. But okay, this is here, this is okay. What we need is we need to get to the other side. Again, make sure when you separate these boxes that you put everything the way it's supposed to be. Right here, and then right here. Whatever goes in whatever compartment needs to stay there. And these are the flaps that we need to fix, is these two right here. So, and I need to remove this one here. And okay, it's here. I actually don't really need to remove this out. I just need to get it out of here. And this is where it's broken right here. This is the shaft. And we need to see if we can get these parts new. If not, we're gonna have to repair these. So we figured out that there's no point to fix these because of the integrity of the rest of the flaps, because you're risking, if you fix these, you're risking that the other ones will break afterwards. And instead of that, the most or the best outcome of this would be to buy this whole box. And actually it's not that expensive. It's $255 online, and it's called a distribution housing. and you can look it up online on these Jeeps. And $250 for this whole system, brand new. I think it's worth the money. So at this point, we're going to replace it with a brand new part, and we're not going to fix this. And this is what it looks like. Yes, it is a pile of parts, but I made a video for you guys, so you should be able to put this back together if you need to. And yeah, it looks crazy, but it's not that crazy. You just need to follow the steps. And this is the actual AC evaporator, and if you need to replace that one, it's connected to the outside pipes. You're gonna need to replace it here while this is open. Again, thanks very much for watching. Please like my videos and please subscribe. Thanks very much. Okay, just in addition to the rest of the video, if you guys are actually intending to replace the AC evaporator, which is right here in this box, you need to get this sensor out of the way, right here. And what it looks like the pipe go all the way to the firewall, just like here. This is just a protection cap here. These are the seals that most of the time leak, these green seals. That's usually the main problem when you replace these evaporators on cars. And in order to release this, to replace it, you need to go to the firewall on the other side, on the engine side. And this is where it comes out of the engine side. It's just right here. And what it has is the expansion valve here. So I need to open the expansion valve and then reach those lines, so I can actually release them and pull them on the inside. So this nut here is 13 millimeters. You need to take it out, and then you need to pull these two lines out of the bolt completely, or the expansion valve, or out of the way if you can. And what needs to happen here is this: there are two Allens, I think, or they're Torx. I cannot see them here. They're right in the middle. Actually, they look like Allen, so I need to find out what Allen that is, and I need to release those two Allen bolts right here, so I can remove the expansion valve and reach the lines. Okay, so the bolts are actually Allen 4, and I'm trying to get to them using this extended Allen. And maybe you need to start them by hand. Okay, the Allen bolts are these. They're Allen 4. It's 2 bolts. You need to catch them before they fall. And what you need to do is, the next thing is the valve. So you just need to pull it right here. You pull it out, and then you see the lock. You need to get this lock out, because you're gonna need it for the expansion valve, because that lock is what locks the expansion valve to the evaporator. So make sure you don't lose these parts, because that's what they look like. That's what you're gonna need to put back. So now the evaporator is ready to be pulled out from the inside. So I'm trying to, it looks like it's loose, but it won't come out. So I need to separate these two boxes. It looks like it's the disconnection is here, and I took a T20 bolt on the right side, so I'm taking the one on this side, on the driver's side, but there's one, see here, this will give us a little bit more room, but there's one here on the passenger side that I took out. So in this case this should give us some more room. I need to see if there's more bolts. If there are more bolts, I need to take them out, maybe in the back, so I can actually move that top plastic part. Okay, we have one more bolt behind here, right here. That's a T20 again, before I can actually push this top part up. So I need to go in with my ratchet like this and just pull it out. So I'm trying to remove this, but it won't move out, so I need to release this whole box off the firewall. And I can see there's a bolt right there that's on the firewall, and there's another bolt right here that's on the firewall. So I can actually move this back, this box out of the firewall in order to try to get this out, because it's about to come out, but it's being stopped by these slots here in the plastic box, and I don't want to destroy this box. So we need to take a few more parts before I can try to move it. And what we need to move is this one here, this bolt, and that one down there, and those are 10mm bolts. So we need to take these out so that I can move the whole box out of the firewall. Okay guys, the last step to remove that internal box, because I got to that point where I need to move it out of the firewall so I can open the top part and replace the AC evaporator. Remember, I released these two bolts here. That's the two bolts holding the box to the firewall, but the last thing that's holding the firewall is these two hoses. That's the coolant hoses going to the heater core. So you need to open these, and then the whole box is gonna come out. Okay guys, unfortunately I had to take the rest of this box out. When I disconnected those two hoses, everything came out. It just had a few plugs here that you have to disconnect, but the box is out, and it's just the way they made this box that you cannot replace the AC evaporator without opening this box out of there, because not only had these bolts in the back, this one here and these here, but you're also going to need to install these two bolts here when you put the other box. And we are actually replacing that whole distributor housing, it's called. We just got it from the dealer, and it's this thing right here, and this is the part number on this one. And again, the integrity of the plastics are just rendering, trying to fix the old one useless, so you might as well just replace it. But when you get this out, you're gonna need to replace the AC evaporator and the heater core, because that's the point of this whole job. You're getting this box out, you might as well just replace them, because they're gonna be most likely in a shape where soon they're gonna start breaking down, and possibly there's some bad stuff here on this heater core. Not sure about the AC evaporator, but I know that the seals on these evaporators, they go bad very easy. In this case, this is in the outside on the expansion valve side, so it's not that bad. You can replace them outside. But anyway, I need to open the top of this box to replace the evaporator. Okay, as I mentioned before, you take off the bolts. There are a couple of clips, and before you can pull this out, you need to cut the seal in two, and you pull the whole box out. And what you're going to need to do is, this will come out now, it's just slides up and down the evaporator. You need to make sure you clean all of that stuff, all that nasty stuff, because this is what is actually, you see right here, this is what is going to stink the whole car when you're driving. And why this gets here is because people do not replace their AC carbon whatever filters or cabin filters. And this is the stuff here. This happens because the filter has not been replaced. The cabin filter, or AC or HVAC filters, that's what they're called. And this is how, when you have all this nasty stuff here, this will start stinking the car when you turn the AC on. So all this has to be cleaned before we can install the new evaporator. Okay, this is the old evaporator and I just installed the new one. I cleaned the box and I cleaned the fan, the blower, and everything is ready to go back. So what I need to do is I need to install the this plastic cap back on top, and then I can put I can actually put the rest of this box, because I'm gonna install this together. It'll be easier to install this rear box with the front distributor box in the car instead of putting them in two pieces. Okay guys, I installed this back with all the bolts. The evaporator is ready, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install the new heater core into the distributor box over there, that new box, and I'm gonna mount it to the front here. That's how I'm gonna get it back into the car. I'm gonna stop making this video because it's gonna become way over too long. The process is obvious, it's just the way everything came out. You need to put it back, and of course you need to recharge the coolant, and you need to recharge your AC. If you cannot do that at home, you need to go to a professional shop so they can help you with that. And this is gonna be on this repair from me, and I hope you watch my other videos, and I hope I help some people with this guide. So thanks for watching again. Thanks very much. Please like my videos and please subscribe. Thank you.